how could critics think this game was near perfect?
When you factor in all the recycled elements,
Destiny is struggling. The player base
a mishmash of pathetic headlines.
Aha! Today Ralph was late today, everyone. Okay, the tables have turned.
Cool story, bro. Tell it again. Our audience really cares.
Actually early today. Everyone cares about our stories. Okay?
Anyway, the point of today's story is Destiny 2. Now,
Destiny poo.
everyone loves Destiny 2. It's everyone's favorite game.
Exactly.
And it
all
always
the
has
DLCs
been.
have been fantastic, apart from the latest one actually was good. But
Correct.
sorry.
Every fucking time.
Why not? Just make some noise for the audience.
Destiny 2 has had a very, very rocky launch. Okay, it came out last year in September. Sold really well, really good reviews, and then after that, everyone was kind of like, wait a second, this game kind of sucks, right?
It was a marketing strategy full of bullshit.
It was, actually. The game was quite hollow, and after that, everyone caught on, the core player base dropped off completely, everyone started hating the game, Bungie had PR disaster after PR disaster. Now, in an Activision's earnings call, it turns out that Destiny 2 has underperformed versus their expectations, and guess what their solution is? More monetization. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't make this shit up. Destiny 2 news, it continues to be a train wreck.
So, everyone's loved Destiny, and you know, the DLCs that have also come after that have also been extremely fantastic. Apart from the last one, and
Forsaken.
Forsaken actually has been a very fantastic one. I've probably played, I don't know, now 60 hours or so of that particular one. You've played a hell of a lot more than that. So that is actually when the tide started turning, but the ship started turning, but you know what? It still hit the iceberg, people.
That's right.
Guardian down. People were too annoyed from the previous DLCs.
It made money, but it didn't make all the money.
Make all the money, people.
This is an Activision earnings call. So the way it works with big companies like Activision is they have shareholders and they have to report to their shareholders every year how much money have we made. Did we make all the money or did we make just some of the money?
Some of the money.
And if we only made some of the money, then the shareholders are like, tell us
angry.
why we only made some of the money.
Very angry.
So the way that they do an earnings call is they basically say, look, here's our financial performance, and they talk about what's going on. And Activision as a company has kind of underperformed because its revenue didn't grow as much this year as it had in previous years. It slowed down a little bit.
Underperforming, very similar to Ralph.
At least I do some performance at all, Sam.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
So
I swear this never happens. Script 101.
So underperformance means it still made a lot of money, but it didn't make as much money as they would have projected or liked. They're all about growth rates in the world of like big business, okay? Because the fact of the matter is, if your product is growing at 5% per year and another product is growing at 20% per year, shareholders don't care how happy your players are. They only care about that 20% versus that 5%.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about how happy a community is. It's purely about the dollars and the growth rate, okay?
Yeah.
So that's where these shareholders come from when they say something like Destiny 2 is underperforming. It's a shitty framework, but unfortunately it's just capitalism, man. You can't fight with that system. So there's a number of quotes about Destiny 2 in this earnings call. This is how they begin. We have not yet seen the full core re-engage in Destiny, said Activision's COO, Cody Johnson. Great name, by the way.
Cody Johnson.
Cody. My
I like
name's
that.
Cody.
Cody.
Which has led to the underperformance against expectations to date. Some players are in a wait and see mode. If you're in, you're deeply engaged. If not, we think now's the time to bring players back. Can I just say that those two things that he said at the end then weren't actually kind of, they didn't really make any sense.
I was going to
say,
say,
kind of very PR-ish.
it's not even. There's PR and then there's nonsensical.
Yeah, it actually didn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So I think So of course they desperately want people to come back, but you know, Cody, my friend, it's going to be hard to bring people back when you know it has been burn after burn.
I think this is the challenge, right? With Destiny 2 Forsaken, you've got a really great product, okay? And I've done a review on it. We did a review on Laymen. Objectively, that is an excellent product at this point, and I don't think you'll find many Destiny fans that disagree. But the challenge is that it comes after a year of bullshit. It comes after, you know, the entire year spent with a boring product, completely hollowed out, terrible monetization, like
the list goes on,
PR disaster, etc. And so people, I think, a lot of people I spoke to were like, "Hey man, this looks really cool. Really liked your review. I'm a fan of Destiny, but fuck this game at this point."
Exactly
and they're
right.
just completely switched off.
I think the currency that Activision has with the player base is so low right now. You know, so even if they are going to be bringing out fantastic games or fantastic DLCs, people are either very skeptical or too burnt. You know, too burnt from the previous stuff. They spent too much money and they put too much faith in a game that's just been an absolute train wreck.
I think the other thing as well is there's an inherent tension between what Forsaken is and what the old game was, as in old Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 is very casual, very accessible. It was designed for everybody.
And they're trying to get back to the Destiny 1. You know, they are trying to get
where
back to
it's much
that.
more hardcore.
Exactly right. They've learned their lesson.
It's for the dedicated. And in fact, Forsaken is probably the most hardcore version of Destiny that's ever existed. It's certainly the most grindy. And I know some people are like, listen, that sounds quite cool, but it's just too grindy for me. And even some Forsaken fans are now saying to me recently in the last few weeks, hey man, I'm quite burnt out on Forsaken. It's just too much, you know?
Yeah.
I can understand that perspective as well, because, you know, that level of grind isn't for everyone. It's a really delicate balancing act that, you know, Activision and Bungie are going through trying to resuscitate this title, but obviously Forsaken hasn't hit all the notes that it wanted to. I personally think most of that comes down to monetization over the previous year, but we don't know.
I think at the moment, Activision, of course, and Bungie are just trying to find a middle ground. That's probably what they need to find. Maybe, you know, just to kind of cater to a hardcore audience. Yeah. Of course, it's going to scare off a lot of those casual players. So obviously, they're trying to make the game better, everybody. Okay, but Ralph, what are they actually doing to improve the game? I'd love to hear this.
Well, this is the best part of this entire thing, right? You know, in this earnings call, one of the things they said was that they're not happy with Destiny 2's performance in terms of, you know, sales and whatever else. And one of the strategies that they have to make things better is to increase monetization and look at ways to further monetize the game.
I love that. It's
this
like, guys,
is so beautiful. Peak Activision.
Yeah, they know that a game is underperforming, so what they're going to do is they're going to make it shitter by putting more microtransactions into the game. I love it.
It's like saying, we're really unhappy with how this fire keeps burning.
Yes.
So we're going to pour gasoline on it to see if that helps.
We've ordered the gasoline
Do you know what I mean?
trucks. They're coming now. Everything's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay, right?
I am too smart.
But this is honestly a true thing. You can see that it's also quoted here in Kotaku where they say this. It was a comment made in the earnings call. This is not about, and this is where it comes back to what I said earlier, right? This isn't about players. This isn't about communities. Shareholders don't give a fuck about any of that. Yeah. They care about the dollars. And so when they see a franchise like Destiny not making enough money, Activision feels like what they need to say to their shareholders is, don't worry, we'll charge more for it. We'll monetize more. Yeah. I mean, like, that's the answer that they bring.
Not to mention, I mean, the stock price is in free fall at the moment because all this shit that's going on. Of course, the Forsaken isn't selling too well. The Destiny brand's broken. The Diablo Immortal fiasco. It's just been...
Yeah. Shares actually did drop about another 10% after this earnings call as well. So they're really in a bad way with regards to their share price. But the fact that they look at the solution to this as further in-game monetization is just proof how out of touch these guys are with what actually makes games and games companies successful.
Yeah.
You know, like the monetization in Destiny 2 is actually really good right now, by the way. It's very unobtrusive. It's very fair. People are very satisfied with it. And so obviously that means that Activision are like, whoa, people are happy? Fuck, what have we done? We need to fix this. Start charging them. Go and look at what's happened with Black Ops. I'm so disappointed. One of the things, we loved Black Ops. Great game. They didn't release the microtransactions at launch. Now they've released them. They are an absolute catastrophe. They are one of the greediest grabs in the history of AAA monetization. Terrible. Just shameful.
I saw a very interesting video the other day, actually. Someone linked it on Twitter, and it was just ultimately saying, if you want one spin on the what's it called, the zombie elixir.
Oh yeah, sure.
It costs you like how much? $6 American or something, or $5.80 American for one spin. I mean, that's just getting ridiculous.
It takes 200 hours to grind for all of the stuff in a single Black Ops Battle Pass, or $200, and they'll be reappearing every few months. Like, it's really, really heinous how much they're charging for that shit. And given this sort of discussion that we've seen here about Destiny, it's possible it headed the same way.
Yeah.
They're like, especially because Destiny probably only has one more game in it. It's probably got a Destiny 3 on the way.
I think
and they're going to want to cash in on that big time to like milk the license at its last exit before Bungie moves on to a new IP. I would be very concerned about what these comments mean and the performance of this franchise and how Activision plans to like milk this. I'd be very concerned about it.
And if we also look at the whole situation with Diablo, I mean, it's still under the Activision brand.
You mean that mobile game?
You know that mobile game that we love?
Diablo, that mobile franchise?
Yeah. You know that little thing, you know?
It's like Clash of Clans.
All that stuff. Yeah, of course.
You say sucks.
And I think that, this situation where, they're looking to monetize again in Destiny more, is this also part of this whole problem with Blizzard at the moment? Are they just getting told by Activision to create products or create strategies that are so kind of anti-consumer and pro freaking stock price? Well, at the moment, it's not helping the stock price now.
It is the inherent tension between we as consumers and shareholders, who are the real bosses and the real sort of stakeholders in the gaming industry. It's never going to be resolved. It's always going to be more of this bullshit. We will see how it unfolds in the context of Destiny 2. That's the news, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Don't feel bad about me. We've only just begun to live. White lace and promises, a kiss for luck, and we're all